that, in my opinion, whether you've got a law firm, whether you've got a cafe, or you've got something else, there is certain things that if you have those abilities, then you can actually do. That's my answer for that.
Thank you.
These characteristics that are identified as resilience, hallmarks of resilience, a couple of them that I think very much apply to you, and I'd like your comments on. Do you view yourself as a calm individual? Do you have an inner calm, or do you allow yourself to get stressed out? And the second one is, do you have a good social network that helps support you during those times when you know, are not calm, are not stressed? I mean, everybody. The only person who's not stressed. Put your hands up if you've not been stressed today, audience. Would you like to put your hands up if you've not been stressed today? Anyone? Good.
Yeah, can I say I'm perfect? So
Yeah, well, you're
you're
perfect. You're never stressed. Anyone who's not been stressed? One person. Come and see me later. We've just got to bury you because you're dead. Okay? Because everybody experiences stress. I'm sorry to say that.
I think,
Okay.
Jim, my answer to that would be twofold. One is, generally I am calm. I'd like to sometimes sort of stop and basically take a hawk's eye view of the situation rather than jumping in whatever. So I'd like to step back, take stock, do a bird's eye view and say, okay, well, that's the problem, it's all these little faults, and this way it can be improved. And there are other times where I'm just a tank that just rolls forward and won't stop for anything till I have to achieve. And another thing is, like, I see businesses not to go in to make money, I see it to achieve. So I see it as it's a step that a summit that I'm going to reach to, leading up to the next summit, and then I see that the money will naturally flow on from that. So I don't go in there for the express purpose of, oh, I've got to have lots of money and buy a third house or a fourth house. So I see it in the perspective of it's a challenge for me to get that, and I know that success will come from that.
So rather than being a stress, it's a challenge.
Well, actually, I love chaos. The other part of it is I strive on chaos. I want
That's
things.
why you like being on this program.
That's why I like being on this program and being friends with Hassan. So that's another part of it. Whereas my wife wants security, wants comfort, wants is the optimist. I am, and not really negative, but I'm optimistic. So we're basically two opposing forces. She wants calm, she wants peace. She has to travel to make sure that that's a table over there. But I basically know that's a table. So we have basically view it that. But then again, if she doesn't control me, she's like my little bedrock that she sometimes pulls me along because I can get carried away and basically might do things. So there's a time that she's like stopgap and says, no, stop.
Sounds
And
like
then I basically appreciate that because I know that I can go advance too much.
Sounds like the
secret.
secret to a good marriage.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
counterbalancing forces.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
So
grounding
the
each other.
thing of friends and support groups are important, and I always like to respect my friends and basically give without expecting anything, because I know that in the end that I will, get that the universe works out the things in the end.
Would you see yourself as being a victim because of
No.
your life?
No, hell no. I'm sorry.
Because a lot of people who have experienced a lot less
Less.
would define themselves as a victim, and that's how they see the world,
Jim, I
from
see it
a
this way.
sense of victimhood.
It's a challenge for me. It's a challenge that has to. So if I see a brick wall, most will say, "Oh, better stop or slow down." I see a brick wall. I go, "All right, hit the accelerator." That's how I see it. That's how I approach it. And then let's see who's going to come out, alive at the end, me or the brick. So that's just the way I see the world. I see the world in different perspectives. That's probably keeps me going.
Amazing, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you mind if I ask if
Yes.
there's anyone in the audience
Of course, yeah,
who
sure.
would like to ask you a question?
Gary, I'd love to ask you a question. My name's Rebecca.
Sure.
Do you think that you were born resilient, or is it something that you developed during your childhood and your lifetime?
My opinion that a part of it is inbuilt, because if I look at both sides of my family tree, everybody from my mother's side, they're entrepreneurs or business people. My dad's side, thing, and they've all exceeded in all the areas that they've chosen. So I think part of it comes from within, and there's a part that you develop as well. If you had nothing at the start with, it's probably hard to add to it. So I guess part of the answer would be that you must have a certain amount within you that you're born with, some traits or genetic traits, I call it, and the rest is probably developed on this environment, on the circumstances, I guess.
Gary,
And,
can
yeah.
I just ask you a question?
Sure.
And this is just something that is not scripted. I'm sorry about this. I've done it again to you.
Off with your head.
But don't you think, I mean, my wife is German, and she came
Yeah.
at a very young age from Germany on her own, made the trip, etc. I sort of feel in my heart of hearts that people that make the transition from one country, one culture to another, they have that impetus, that courage, if you like, in a certain sense, to
I think it falls on the individual.
that.
It's a case of sink or swim. Some people chose to sink for very, very minor things because they probably might not have the structure around them or the people that they can ask, or just the inbuilt weakness in them. I think it's everyone is different. My approach was that at all these times along my lifetime, maybe there's 30, 40 points that I could have sunk, perhaps.
But your family made a very courageous, conscious decision to migrate to another country,
Yes.
different culture, different language, etc., and to adapt, as you have so obviously well done.
Jim, I don't know. I can only talk about my experience and what
Yes,
I've been
exactly.
through. In my thing, and I've seen other migrants that have come here and been successful, doesn't mean that every migrant that came here became successful.
Oh, absolutely not.
Obviously not. So it's the case probably individuality that everyone is different and everyone probably treats differently. My brother and I are two different people, and we approach things differently. All I can talk about is my own experience and what I...
And your brother's been equally successful, even more
Well,
so, perhaps.
If the truth be said, I have been instrumental in helping him. Not only have I improved myself, I saw an opportunity that could tremendously help him, and I took it upon myself as an older brother to show him the ropes and put him on the right path, which has impacted on his life for the better and also his kids.
Are there any other questions in the audience?
Yes, there is. Gary, thank you so much for sharing
Yeah,
the story.
thank you.
Well, given the challenges that you have faced so far, do you believe that you had a good life so far?
Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
Did you have you had a good life, given the
Ah.
travails and the problems
Travails.
that you've had?
Overall, I believe so. I'm very happy. But that's also my interpretation on what I expected. So it's a case of other people would have said, well, hold on, I've had staph, I've had golden staph, I've had MRSA, I've had septicemia, I've had all these issues. I say, yeah, I've had all that, but I'm still here. and I've got plans to do, like I'm not even half of what I wanted to do. So I guess it's always open to interpretation where the question is, yes, I believe I had a good life, I'm happy, and I'm also, another part of it is, I'm happy that I've accepted myself, I'm happy in my own body, my own physical sense. I don't sort of say, well, I should have been taller or longer or more attractive or better looking and all that. Perhaps I could have...
Gary,
like
you're
this.
absolutely gorgeous. Don't
Well,
don't
there you go.
worry about that.
So yeah, the answer is I'm happy with what I am, and I'm happy with my own self.
And you look even better, may I interrupt, in the mental
In the mental health, I'm sponsoring mental health.
You can always interrupt. I just noticed these
Yeah.
6 points that you referred to earlier, and Gary just raised one
Yeah.
then. Meaning and purpose. And
Yeah.
you said you're only halfway through your
Only
meaning
halfway
and
through,
purpose.
in my
You're only
opinion,
halfway
yeah.
through.
Yeah.
So, your journey is still ahead of you. That's how you see it. You don't see it as being something yet to... Thank
There you
you.
go.
Something yet that is finished. You're still
Well, I
achieving
say I'm
things.
57, and I've basically only achieved half of, even though my standards for other people's standards, I've achieved quite a lot. I don't see it that way though, Lucia. I basically say, well, okay, I've made inroads, but like there's a whole lot of life that I still have to live, and I want to live it like that. And another thing in my life is that I would like to encourage other people too. So I said to my son when he was like in year 10, I don't care what marks you get, whether you get an A or an E or an F or whatever it might be. Marks or grades mean absolutely nothing to me. I'd like to ask you, did you do your best? That's all I'm interested in. did you do your best? If you can answer me and say, I did my best, what marks you get? No interested.
You're a fabulous
Or, you know,
father.
whether you become a bean cleaner or you become an astronaut means nothing to me. Because it's just, have you done to the best of your ability?
Would you
That's not a
adopt
part.
me? Would you like to adopt me? I'm a bit older.
I can adopt you. If you
Okay.
I have to ask my wife first, but I'm sure I can adopt you.
Sorry, I'll
Yeah, yeah.
stop with another.
And then,
last-
any questions?
Yeah.
Hi Gary, I'm
Hi.
Ash.
Hey.
Thank you for sharing your story. It's very inspiring, by the way.
Thank you.
I've heard that you were bullied at school, and I just want to know how you coped with that.
I'm sorry, my ears aren't very good. Jim, can you repeat that, sorry?
You were bullied at school?
Oh, I was bullied at school.
I know you've told us an interesting story about how you coped with that.
How I coped with that, okay.
But
Now-
you didn't run away. You found a solution to deal with this.
yeah.
So I think this is a rather humorous
Okay.
story that we'd like to hear.
Yes, I was bullied in year 10, and I realised that I wasn't going to be able to stop the bullying. So another part of me in those years, I used to spend a lot of time in the city because we used to sell imitation jewellery, my dad and I, from like 12 years of age to about 16 years of age. So I got to know let's say, the bad people of the city. And they were my friends.
Let's say the tough people.
The tough people, they were not the bad people, the tough people were. So I thought, okay, well, how do you stop bullying? You get a bigger bully than them. So I went to the city, got some Lebanese tigers and black dragons, those guys that had big muscles and no brains and no necks and cut out t-shirts.
We better cut out the no brains in
no.
case they're watching.
The muscles, the muscles.
They had the
The
muscles.
muscle, they had the muscle. And like probably something out of the Outsiders perhaps. And I brought them to school, about 4 of them. And so we followed the tough boys exactly, because when they saw them, they were running towards 7-Eleven. And all I reproached was that we approached them with my friends. And one was having a Slurpee. This is a really funny story. The ringleader was having a Slurpee, and my friend Tony, the Egyptian, simply got the Slurpee, opened the back of his t-shirt, poured it down the back of his t-shirt, rubbed it in nicely and said, "You leave Gary alone." And they got rid of the bullying for life. So that's how I dealt with bullying, and that solved that problem.
But I guess the point is you had an active solution. It wasn't overly violent.
No,
or
it wasn't
aggressive.
violent at all. It was just a Slurpee.
It was a psychological tactic.
Psychological, yes. Like, you leave Gary alone was the message.
But you weren't going to cop it. You worked
No,
out a solution.
no. Yes.
You weren't going to allow
And I think
yourself
that's
to be a
at
victim.
lunch too. Even now, like, do I accept doctors' advice or whatever? No. I'd like to prove them wrong. And generally, I can prove them wrong. Because I basically say, okay, they've got 3 levers. Generally speaking, doctors get told professionally that the 3 levers always must turn clockwise, for example. That's what I get told in uni, they get told. So I question myself, well, okay, does the 3 levers always have to turn clockwise as the allegorical, basically, in an effect? And the answer is no, not always. There are cases where 2 of the levers can go clockwise, but the middle one, for example, can go counterclockwise. So that's how I approach life. That's the question I always ask. Is it the accepted norm that 3 levers go clockwise? And the answer is probably yes. Does that mean that always they have to go clockwise? No. And so and the doctors sort of realised, well, that's shit. I mean, apologies. Yes, that can be. Yes, there are cases.
Did you say
Certainly.
shit?
I think I said shite. Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
So that's my answer to that. So I think it's a creative approach of not just accepting the said word, but simply applying your logic and your reasoning. Does that make sense? And could there be another way of seeing it?
Gary, please. I think someone was going to applaud that answer, but
Yeah.
Gary, can I just say, and I'm sure Lucia will want to say, that was a most inspiring
Thank you.
talk from you and interview, and I've thoroughly enjoyed it. I know our audience has enjoyed it. I think you're a remarkable human being, and I hope you're with us for many, many more decades, not years, not months, decades.
Yeah, 200 years more.
200 years.
Yeah, about
that'll
200.
just.
Yeah, about 200 years.
By 200 years, I'll be sick of you, but that'll be fine.
I think, Jim, in the last final thing I'd like to say is that let's say the skills that I have, I guess to most part transferable. It's just a view. It's just changing the perception. I think most people, in my opinion, the way I see the world, most people are ruled by fear to some degree. So there's always that barrier, there's always that fear. If I do this, it'll go wrong. If I do this, I'll get burnt. If I do this, it'll fail. And the answer is no, not always. And I always tell people, if you have $100, please, for God's sakes, don't gamble $80 on a business or project. Gamble 20% on it. Because the 20% you can lose and you can still move forward. So I say, please, for God's sakes, like, do take risks. People that aspire to go into politics, I say, please don't go into politics now. For God's sakes, go out there, get business, fail. You don't have to succeed, but at least you've tried something. You've had a go at it, and you failed or you've gone bankrupt, but you've done something.
Accept the possibility.
So, yeah, accept the possibility. Go out there and live, and I think that's very important for people to hear. Don't stay back. There is always a barrier. You know, in my life, there's always been barriers. I don't listen to those barriers. Basically, I think the message is go and live your life. Go and live your life to the fullest potential. Don't just see the barriers or the brick walls and think, oh, no, we're going to stop here. No, go through it.
Yeah.
Because you can. That's my final thing.
Thank you so much for sharing your perspective, because
Yes.
I think it encourages others out there.
That's my hope, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my hope. Thank you.
Well, for myself, I would like to invite the budding designers, the makeup artists and other artists for future shows. If you would like to be featured, please write into the mental health or contact myself so you will be featured on the show. I would also like to give a huge thank you to Tony Miniti and Romana Moda from Anatom Group Holdings Proprietary Limited for sponsoring this episode. If you would like to partner with the Mental Health Foundation Australia, please do so and join together with us so that we can make a big difference in our culture and society today.
Thank you, lovely Lucia.
Thank you.
That's absolutely wonderful. And look, I'm afraid we'll have to conclude there. Obviously, we haven't exhausted this topic, and you probably never would. There are lots of other questions that we could ask. Next month, we will have the Goody Show, and it will deal with the lived experience of obsessive-compulsive disorder. In the meantime, I would like to tell you about a badge that I have on my hat, because everybody's interested in my hat, which of course, you know, is the little bit of, we have a multicultural flavour to this audience, and my multicultural flavour that I bring to it is Australiana. And I just want to show you a little badge from Derby. It's got a little flying fish here. It's a lovely little village that I've been to many times in Western Australia, for those of you that don't know Australia very well, maybe from overseas watching this. There's a population of about 3,500 people. It's 5,000 kilometres to the northwest of where we are here in Melbourne, in Victoria, which is a long way. You can't go much further than 5,000 kilometres across Australia without getting your feet wet in the Indian Ocean. Wow. So just to let you know, however, the community does have major drug and alcohol issues in this remote northwest Australian community. Nevertheless, it's a beautiful spot. Best wishes to the people of Derby. Great fishing, magnificent scenery, and just to let you know that our CEO, Vasan Srinivasan, will be visiting the area or the general location as part of National Mental Health Month, which will run all through October of this year. A wonderful event. We'll have one more Goody Show before it, but prepare yourselves for this wonderful event. Wishing you all the best, and we'll see you next month. Thank you.
Thank you for watching.